Hi, I'm Kris Lyon, and I'm here to talk to you today about the higher order questioning grid. The way this grid works is there are 4 quadrants, and you'll see the first quadrant here, and then these 2 quadrants, and then this final quadrant. And you'll notice there are point values for each. The way this grid works is that you would first pick one of these words, for instance, who, and then you would come across, and then you would pick one of these words, was. So who was? Sort of like quadrants. In this example, any question generated here would be a 1-point question. Questions generated here and here are considered 2 points. And then questions generated here are considered 3-point questions. These points come into play because the level of difficulty increases as you go down or as you go over. So if I start out at the beginning with a question like, what did the third pig build his house out of? We would have a 1-point question. Very simple, very easy type question. Similarly, who was after the 3 pigs in the story The 3 Little Pigs? In order to get a little more difficult, I could say, what could, or what else could, the pigs have built their house out of? And again, that would now be a 2-point question. Or if I said, why was the wolf after the pigs? That also would be a 2-point question. And then I could actually go all the way over and say, where else might the pigs have gone if the wolf blew the brick house down? Where might the pigs have gone if the wolf had blew the brick house down? So you can see with these level of difficulty, the questions generated here are easier. The questions generated here or here are a little bit more complex, and this last area would be the most complex and the highest level questions that in thinking. Now there's one other section, and this section is down here, and these are the negatives of what was on top. So if I come down to the negatives, a lot of times if you're playing a game with this grid, this increases the difficulty by choosing one of these instead of one of the top words. So why didn't could be your question here. Again, it's normally a 2-point, but when we add the negative, you know, it's usually more difficult for students to answer negative questions. So a lot of times when playing the game, I tell the students they can have an extra point. The game comes into play when students are generating questions or you're generating questions. You could use the points in a competition, teams against one another, or even in a blank game board if they're using this grid in centers by themselves. Very simple grid for generating questions, higher order questions, ranging from simple to more complex. Remember, if you move over, it gets more difficult. If you move down, it gets more difficult. If you move both down and over, it is the most difficult on this grid. Simple way to generate questions based on text for the teacher's use and also for student use and remembering questions. Have a great day.